Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your shortcut to getting, well, really informed on fascinating topics. Today we're jumping into something truly innovative, maybe even a bit surprising. Rain-powered solar panels. Yeah, you heard that right. Our mission here is to unpack how this works, look at the latest steps forward, and crucially, figure out why it might be a fit or maybe not quite yet for a place like New Hampshire. With its unique climate, we all get solar panels, right? They love sun. But this tech, it aims to get energy from rain, which usually stops solar panels working so well. So the big question is, how on earth could rain actually generate electricity?
It's a great question, and honestly, it sounds a bit sci-fi at first, but the science is pretty neat. It hinges on something called triboelectric nanogenerators,
Yeah,
TNGs for short.
TNG.
Yeah, and the basic idea is what's called liquid-solid contact electrification. So when a raindrop hits the panel surface, it creates a tiny electrical charge exchange. Think of it like static electricity almost, but generated by the water drop hitting the specially designed surface. That charge can then be collected.
So it's not just the force of the drop, it's an actual electrical interaction.
Exactly. It's more subtle than just impact. And recent work, this is where it gets really interesting, uses things like graphene coatings on the solar cells.
Graphene, okay, that pops up everywhere.
It does. So this graphene layer interacts with ions, positively charged ions, that are naturally present in raindrops.
Right.
And this interaction effectively creates tiny structures called pseudocapacitors right there on the surface. Little temporary batteries, if you like, that store the charge generated by the raindrop.
Wow. Okay, so little mini batteries forming and discharging with the rain.
That's a good way to think about it. They build up a charge, and that creates a current we can potentially use.
Is this just lab stuff, or are people actually building systems that do this effectively?
Oh, there's definite progress. Researchers at Tsinghua University in China, for example, they've made some pretty big strides.
What did they do?
They developed what they call a bridge array generator system. It essentially uses multiple teeny units working together, and it boosted the power output nearly 5 times compared to earlier raindrop energy harvesting methods.
5 times is significant.
It is. And importantly, their design kind of mimics traditional solar panel arrays. It shows they're thinking about how this could integrate, how it could scale up.
So they see it working alongside regular solar panels.
Precisely. Nobody's really positioning this as a replacement for photovoltaics. It's seen as complementary. Think about it. It generates power when it's raining, exactly when traditional solar panels aren't performing their best.
That makes a lot of sense. Extra power during bad weather. Which brings us neatly to New Hampshire. Why is that state such an interesting place to consider this?
Right. New Hampshire provides a really compelling sort of test case. Its climate is key.
How so?
Well, look at the numbers. New Hampshire gets on average about 46 inches of rain per year. That's quite a bit higher than the U.S. average, which is around 38 inches.
Okay, more rain days.
More rain volume, definitely. And it also has slightly fewer sunny days than the U.S. average, about 198 versus 205. So the balance shifts a little.
And I bet that varies across the state too, right? I remember reading places like Pinkham Notch get way more rain.
Exactly. Pinkham Notch sees almost 67 inches. So regionally, the potential could be even higher in some spots. Plus, you have to consider the increasing risk of, extreme weather.
Right, resilience.
Yeah, there's talk of like a 40% chance of a tropical storm impact in 2025, 18% chance of a hurricane. So having diverse energy sources, ones that might even benefit from rain, becomes more attractive for grid stability.
Okay, the climate argument seems strong. But what about the money, the practical side? Is this actually viable now?
And that's the big hurdle right now. We have to be realistic. This tech, while super exciting, is very much still in development, early stages.
How early? Compared to regular solar?
Well, think about traditional solar in New Hampshire. It's already a bit pricier than the national average, maybe $3.65 per watt. A standard 10-kilowatt system, you're looking at maybe $36,500 before any incentives.
Okay. And the payback time on that is usually?
Typically around 13, maybe 14 years in New Hampshire. So that's the benchmark.
Right. So how does the rain power part stack up against that? What kind of power are we actually talking about from rain today?
Okay, prepare yourself. It's minimal. Currently, these systems produce something like 0.35 watts per square meter, and that's during rainfall.
0.35 watts per square meter.
Yeah. To put that in perspective, even if you put one of these panels in the absolute rainiest place on Earth, calculations suggest it might generate about 0.138 kilowatt hours over an entire year.
Wow. And that's worth what?
Maybe 1.3 cents annually.
Okay. So pennies. Literally pennies.
Literally pennies right now.
Yeah.
So let's take Concord, New Hampshire. Gets about 42 inches of rain, maybe 133 days with precipitation. If you added today's rain harvesting tech to a standard 10 kilowatt solar system there, you might get an extra 40 or 50 kilowatt hours per year. That's less than a 0.5% increase in total output.
Less than 0.5%. So, yeah, standalone, not practical, not even close economically.
Not yet, no. The immediate return just isn't there.
But there is a long-term vision here, right? It's not just about the pennies today.
Exactly. The vision is really about hybrid systems, combining traditional solar with this rain harvesting tech on the same panel or array.
So one system doing both jobs.
Right. Now, adding the rain tech might slightly increase the initial cost and maybe extend that ROI period a little bit further, but the gain is in resilience and adaptability.
The works in sunshine or rain idea.
Precisely. It improves the system's overall performance across different weather conditions, which is especially relevant for a climate like New Hampshire's. It's really about laying groundwork, diversifying how we get renewable energy, making the whole system more robust for the future.
Okay, so summing this up, we've seen the cool science, 10 to mains, pseudocapacitors from raindrops, pretty wild stuff. We've seen why New Hampshire's climate, with more rain and slightly less sun, makes it an interesting place to think about this. But we've also hit the hard reality check. Economically, it's just not viable on its own yet. The power output is minuscule compared to traditional solar.
For now, it's very much future-focused.
Right. The potential is, in those future hybrid systems, boosting resilience even if it doesn't drastically cut your energy bill today. So here's something to think about. For you listening, what does this all really mean? Imagine a future where your home or your community's grid isn't just betting on sunny days. Imagine it embracing the rain, too. How might integrating these really diverse energy sources, sun, rain, maybe wind, others, how might that change not just our power grids, but maybe even how we think about the weather itself? Something to mull over next time the clouds roll in.